What's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today, doing the breakdown video for the Charlo versus Sulecki WBC Middleweight Title Fight that's taking place Saturday, June 18th on Showtime. It's going to headline a Showtime card there. You know, to be honest, right out the gate, I'm not, you know, I haven't been happy with this announcement of this fight since it happened. And I'm not too excited or thrilled that this fight's going down. I think Charlo, with all the shit that he has talked and stuff that he has said about Canelo ducking people, I feel like this is a joke of an option. But, you know, in all honesty, I think it's a lot better matchup because than people think, because I don't think Charlo is as good as he and his fan base make him out to be. Now, Charlo, absolutely, I think he's very skilled, and you know, hey, I'm not saying Charlo isn't skilled. I just don't think he's as good as everybody not everybody, as he and his fan base have made him out to be. He is a good fighter, but I don't know how good he is. And he won't show us by fighting any legit fighters unless it's absolutely on his terms. And, you know, I think that's bullshit. So, going in against Sulecki, you know, is a hungry guy. He's only lost a couple times in his career, 30-2. He's lost to the best. He lost to Danny Jacobs, and he lost to Demetrius Andrade in his only title attempt to date. So, a good matchup here. As we always do with the breakdown videos, we discuss the again, as we always do with the breakdown videos, we discuss multiple questions for each fighter. We start with the champion and then move on to the challenger, and then I ask the same questions on both sides, and I ask, is it better for boxing if one or the other wins? And then the final question is, I give my predictions. So let's jump into it. We start with the reigning and undefeated WBC middleweight champion of the world, Charlo. So heading into this fight, Charlo, you know, hasn't been the most active guy. It's been a year in between fights since he fought Montiel last year, and got a lackluster unanimous decision. He won most of the rounds, but nobody was really impressed with the performance. You know, it was one of those kind of workmanlike, lackluster type performances, and he actually got knocked more than credit for that fight. Prior to that, in my opinion, he scored his career best win, a dominant unanimous decision over Sergey Derevyanchenko in a competitive, you know, Derevyanchenko was a good fighter, was a good spot, and I felt like he got his career best win then. But, you know, he hasn't really done much the last couple years, and he's done a lot more crying and complaining about not grabbing Canelo. So heading into this fight, I think he really needs to have the mentality that he needs to win impressively. You know, if you're gonna take on a guy that people think you shouldn't be fighting, you have to beat that guy impressively to sway any kind of opinion at all in your favor. So heading into that one, I think he needs to have that kind of mentality, especially if he wants to land Canelo at some point. So what kind of style does he need to have to win this fight? Well, height-wise, they're the same, but he has a 5.5-inch reach advantage. Sulecki's not a big puncher, not a super big puncher, but he can bang, and Sulecki will want to get on the inside of Charlo. So Charlo needs to throw a jab, and he needs a box, and needs to set up that right hand to land in order to hurt and hopefully knock Sulecki out if you're Charlo. Now, speaking of that, can Charlo defeat Sulecki by knockout? I think he probably can. He's going to have to go for broke a little bit in this one because Sulecki does have a good chin, but I think he could beat Sulecki by knockout. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that's not possible. I think he could pull it off. Can he win a decision? Yeah, I think that probably is going to be the most likely prediction, is that he's going to win a decision. And I think if Charlo boxes, he could probably win a clean decision for sure. What does a win here mean for Charlo? Well, you know, it actually does mean everything, just because he needs to beat Sulecki in order to continue to push forward and keep his brand solid. If he loses to Sulecki, that's going to totally kill him. It really is. It's going to totally kill a fight with Canelo and any kind of cred that he's built up. Even false credit that he's built up is going to be evaporated with a loss to Sulecki. So a win for him is very important. What does a loss mean for Charlo to Sulecki? It would be devastating to his career, especially with him trying to land Canelo, and, you know, really calling Canelo out, and especially with, you know, just losing your first fight to a guy like him. It's really going to bring him down to a whole different reality of where he stands in boxing in the middleweight division. So a loss would really, really hurt Charlo badly, and that's any kind of loss. He can't afford it. Let's move on to the underdog, the former world title challenger, Maciej Sulecki. Sulecki heading into this fight, coming off a 2-fight win streak since his second defeat against Demetrius Andrade back in 2019 for the WBO title. He lost a one-sided decision there. He's coming in really with the attitude that he's got nothing to lose. I mean, because nobody believes that he deserves this fight. He's getting a golden opportunity, and he really needs to own the, hey, nobody's expecting me to win anyway, so I'm just going to come out here and do all that I can. So, you know, that is the kind of mentality that Sulecki needs to have heading into this fight, because it's going to allow him to take risks if he has that mentality. And I think that's where he needs to go. But he also needs to be ready to be able to take Charlo into the deep waters and have the stamina to try to make it a dogfight if he can take him into the deep waters. Now, what kind of style does he need to have to win the fight? Well, that's what he needs to do. He needs to try to get on the inside of Charlo, but he also needs to use the angles and try to not take so much punishment so he can not be fatigued in the late rounds, and he can actually get to Jermall Charlo and make it a dogfight. Now, can Sulecki defeat Charlo by knockout? You know, Charlo's got a good chin. I don't think Sulecki has the most lights out power. Excuse me. Oh, that one hit me out of nowhere. I do think he can win the fight by knockout, but he'd really have to like bust Charlo up and beat him. So, and I think the odds of that happening are not good. So I don't see him winning by knockout, but I wouldn't completely rule it out. Can he win a decision? I think he can win a close decision if he really, you know, can use the angles and get Charlo into the deep waters. I think he can win a decision. What does a win mean for Maciej Sulecki? Well, it means everything. This is a golden opportunity, one that only happens a handful of times in a fighter's career. You know, he's really getting a gift title shot here that he has not earned, and a win over a guy like Charlo, somebody on his level, would be huge for Sulecki. You know, it really would in his career. So this is a big fight. You know, it'd be a big victory for Sulecki. What does a loss mean for Sulecki? Well, it just kind of keeps him where he's already at. You know, he's not at the top tier of the middleweight division. He's solid, but not a top tier middleweight. And it's going to kind of keep him in check and where he's at middleweight. So I don't think a loss is going to hurt Sulecki so much, because most people don't expect him to win anyway. So, you know, I think that's going to help towards a possible win, is having that, hey, you know, nobody's expecting me to win. I'm going to come out here and do the best I can kind of mentality, you know? Now, is it better for boxing if Charlo wins or if Sulecki wins this fight? And to be honest, I think it's better for boxing if Charlo wins. He's undefeated. He's an American fighter. He talks a lot of shit. That's better for boxing. Sulecki is kind of a fighter that we've kind of been there, done that kind of deal. We already know what we're getting with him. So a win for Charlo would be better for boxing. And now the final question. Who do I think is going to win this WBC middleweight title fight between Jermall Charlo and Maciej Sulecki? And I'm picking Charlo to win this fight. And to be honest, I think he's going to stop Sulecki in the late rounds. I think he's going to go for it. Now, I think it's about 50-50 that it could be a late round stoppage or it could be a unanimous decision. But I think Charlo knows that a knockout here is going to separate him a little bit from Daniel Jacobs and Demetrius Andre, give him a little bit more credit than them. And so I think that's what he's shooting for and going for. I wouldn't be surprised if he got it a little earlier. But again, I think Sulecki's a live underdog, and he could also pull off the upset. So we're going to see what happens here. But I'm picking Jermall Charlo by a 9th or 10th round TKO as he retains his WBC middleweight title. And that's pretty much it. That's the breakdown video for Charlo and Sulecki as they compete for the WBC Middleweight Championship of the World at 160 pounds. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. And this is True Boxing. You've been here with the truth.